Throughout Trinity Baptist Church, dozens of people wore pink and purple, Faye's favorite colors, to celebrate the impact she had on their lives. So many different options to choose from. Camp staff say they want these kids to have a summer they'll never forget. They will hand you a bagged lunch, and inside this bagged lunch you've got peanut butter and jelly sandwiches, as well as fruit, vegetables, pretzels, and milk. One bill would reduce the size of the board from 20 down to 11 members, making it one of the smallest in the state. Back in the 1920s, Main Street was a symbol of how Columbia was intending to modernize. Flash forward to 2020, and city leaders are still embracing this mentality when looking at the future. And the search is continuing as we speak. Across the entrances of the Churchill Heights subdivision, officers are on hand, blocking people who are not living in the neighborhood or do not have a reason to come into the neighborhood from entering. Something else that's been a concern has been power outages. Throughout the Midlands, we have seen a lot of power outages in the last few hours. The peak of them came around 3:30, 4 o'clock, when there was more than 1,000 power outages throughout the state. In the last 5 presidential election cycles, South Carolina voters from either the Democratic or the Republican Party have chosen the candidate that ultimately went on to win the White House that year. For years, Brandon Zinn has been driven by a childhood passion.
Since I was like 6 years old, I always wanted to be a firefighter.
Zinn was 2 weeks away from finishing firefighter training, but in January, a motorcycle accident almost derailed his dream.
I don't remember any of the accident whatsoever, but coming here and just waking up in the hospital and knowing I lost my leg was very difficult to process, but everybody here helped me get through it.
For 2.5 weeks, doctors at Prisma Health's Level 1 Trauma Center took care of Zinn and guided him through his recovery. The unit's trauma medical director says it's remarkable to see the progress he has made.
To get him over that hump, if you will, and to be able to say to mom and dad, I think he's going to make it. And when they do make it, they make such an incredible recovery like Brandon has made. It's worth its weight in gold.
Without the Level 1 Trauma Center, I probably would have not have made it. I was extremely close to death. Without that quick response, I would not be here today. Would not be with my child and my wife.
Zinn says the Columbia Fire Department has been very supportive throughout his recovery. He says he has to get a special piece for his prosthetic leg and go through some training, but he's hopeful he can make his mark on the department.
An amputee firefighter are rare things. And the city of Columbia, to my knowledge, hasn't had one. So I will be what everybody looks to see if an amputee firefighter can make it through the city of Columbia.
We work very hard to actually take these kids to and from school, and we just want to be paid what we'll do. Not only what they think we should be paid, but we should be paid what we are worth.
Ever since the 3 Orangeburg County school districts consolidated into one back in July, some bus drivers say they have not received their paychecks or they received a lower amount than what they feel they are owed.
They told me on one of my time sheets that they would honor the time, but then when I went back in to actually get more information about it, they told me that they were not going to honor the time sheet, so I was short about $500.
Some brought their concerns to Interim Superintendent Daryl Johnson and his team, but some had mixed feelings coming out of the meeting.
He tried to knock us down to less than 4 hours a day, and even he couldn't answer the question in there as far as could he make a living off of 4 hours a day.
You can't pay your bills like that, you know, mentally, physically, you can't pay your bills like that.
Dr. Johnson says the district could have done a better job in informing the drivers about the uniform pay scale. He says drivers will get paid for the amount of time they actually drive the bus, plus an extra hour for pre- and post-ride inspections.
Everyone who has worked will be paid, but we will not be able to pay you for time that you did not work. We cannot be a good steward of the taxpayer dollar if I pay you for 40 hours when you're only driving for 33 or 32.
Some drivers who have served the county for years say the actions over the last few weeks could have them looking elsewhere for work.
If this right here persists and they try to cut our pay and treat us like garbage, I'm going to be like everybody else and just go look for another job.
Kershaw County Sheriff Lee Bone says Deputy Chelsea Cockrell followed every rule to the T when guiding traffic through a busy intersection near Lugoff Elementary School.
She had on her blue lights. She had on her all reflective gear, highly visible. Everybody else saw her, but it's hard to see somebody when you're looking at your phone, and that's what caused this accident.
Cockrell was immediately taken to the hospital but did not suffer any serious injuries. She was released hours after the accident. Cockrell is a school resource officer at Stover Middle School in Elgin. Some say they missed her presence in the hallways.
She has a great relationship with the people here, especially the kids. There's some kids that, I know they probably missed her today just because she puts a smile on their face.
Cockrell has to be cleared by a doctor before returning to work.
A lot of other people wouldn't have walked away from this. They would have been out for a long time, and there she is. If it wasn't for the doctor telling her, she would go back to work today.
Sheriff Bone says today's incident is a startling reminder of why it's important to keep your eyes off your phone and your eyes on the road.
You never should keep that phone in your hand. Just sit it down and you drive from point A to point B and pay attention to what's going on around you.
When you enter a school zone and you see flashing lights, you need to stop what you're doing, put all your focus on the road.
We were very lucky. This was a close call, and it's something we don't want to see again.
Reporting in Kershaw County, Tim Scott, ABC Columbia News. Just days after being admitted at Prisma Health Richland to fight the coronavirus, Lisa Harden of Blythewood says she was very close to being put on a ventilator.
I thought I can't keep fighting to get the air in. I am so exhausted. My precious daughter kept begging me to fight. She kept calling me, Mom, please, please, Mom, keep fighting. I need you. I need you.
Doctors recommended Harden receive an experimental treatment involving the transfusion of antibodies through plasma.
What we're able to do with the antibodies is take someone's immune system, because it outruns our immune system. So it gives that person a 50-yard head start.
Shortly after making the request, doctors received a matching shipment of plasma from a blood bank in Chattanooga, Tennessee. Harden says she could feel the antibodies going to work almost immediately after the transfusion.
I knew that there was a fight going on, and this fight, I had warriors for me on board this time. It wasn't me trying to do it by myself.
The next morning, Harden says she had a new burst of energy and was able to taste and smell for the first time in almost a week.
And I called my husband on the phone. I said, guess what? I can taste coffee. It is the hospital brand coffee, and I still like it.
Over the next few days, Harden's fever lowered, and she ultimately made a full recovery at home.
I will be forever grateful because I truly felt like I was losing the fight. I don't think I would have won the fight without it.
Tim Scott, ABC Columbia News.